Are we recording? Are you recording?
I am.
Okay, welcome to the Elk Season Podcast, episode 23. Is it 23?
Episode 23.
Episode 23. The Elk Season Podcast is dedicated to archery elk, the greatest outdoor sport in North America.
best.
We are your hosts, the Chambers
In the
Brothers.
North.
My name is Harold.
I'm David.
And today on the Elk Season Podcast,
We got all kinds of stuff from the current water situation, as in the last few weeks. If you have not, if you're finding out from our podcast what's been going on in Yellowstone and southwestern Montana, you've got bigger problems than we do with the number of people listening to our podcast.
True.
Now, so we have a water situation. It's kind of on the up and up, at least here in the Northwest. Not so great in the
Southwest.
Southwest.
Very much.
Dire situations there. We have a couple elk stories. One related to poaching, one related to a cute little Southwest fire calf. We'll talk about.
And also a Colorado elk. We got the Colorado elk story.
Yes. The elk in Colorado are just a different kind of elk. I mean, you find they don't care.
Yeah.
I think in some places they don't care that man exists. They just go.
Yeah.
And you can find all kinds of evidence of those videos. Like I think early on in the podcast, or at least in the recent history you and I talked about, and showed that video or watched that video of the elk coming through the downtown. He's got his harem and he's just
oh my gosh. Was that Colorado?
That was Colorado.
To me, it always looked like Salmon, Idaho.
Yeah.
And I always wanted to imagine that that elk bugling in traffic was in Salmon, Idaho.
I was fairly certain it was in Colorado. If it's not,
it probably is. I don't think it's Salmon.
If it's in Idaho, let me know. I don't get that from sound, but I could be wrong.
That was because I'd never been to Colorado when I saw that video.
Yeah,
I have now, but when I saw that video, I'm like, the only place I've been that looks like that is Salmon.
So we also have a story on an old lady in a chair and a bear.
An old lady in a chair?
An old lady and a chair and a bear.
And a bear. But not all three. Are those three different stories?
Okay, maybe I'll get it right this time. An old lady with a chair and a bear.
Okay. So I'm just as lost as I was when it was three stories.
So we're covering quite a bit of stuff.
Like we always do.
Yeah. But as we always do, we jump right into announcements. What do you got?
Announcements are we're going camping this weekend. I go camping for my birthday. My birthday's this Sunday. It's June 26th. I'm going to be 50.
50.
Yeah. I need a midlife crisis. So on Monday, I'm going to order a second Cybertruck.
Yeah,
I am. I won't be in town on Sunday.
I've been drooling over Rivian videos the last week.
That's when I was scrolling through TikTok. I found a Rivian video. And I'm like, I got to send that to David. I don't know why I didn't just send it to you. I feel like I'm bugging you when I'm sending you TikToks.
There's something about the Hummer EV that I'm interested in. There's something about the look. And I'm kind of interested in that.
I know, and it looks so much like an H3.
An H2 to me.
Does it?
To me, it looks like an H2.
The H2, H3.
H3 always looked like H3 looked like a glorified Jeep Cherokee to me.
Yeah, it was just a Hummer in
the
name
H2.
Only.
That's what the Hummer EV reminds me of. Is the H2. I saw an H1 today, the OG, not EV, parked at a construction zone here on the Canyon Rim when I was riding my bike.
And those are one of the things. That's one of the vehicles I've always wanted before the Cybertruck.
Yeah,
a Hummer, an H1, H1 MV, or a Hummer H1 Alpha.
Yeah,
it's really that is the ultimate.
But that's the gas it's drinking.
But I drank all my money.
Gas guzzler.
It is. You
drive one of those, you ain't got money for beer.
I know, and I've invited. So we're going to go out and put the part of the announcements are we're going to put out trail cameras for a scouting report. We've found an area. We've made a little plan to go and hike and put up cameras, and we're going to go put up cameras this Sunday. And so we should have. I will put together a report. We'll put some videos together, a report of the trailhead and of the hike. And of some things that we see when we're out. And
we're not just saying it this time. We've said a few times that we're going on an adventure. This one's legit, folks.
No, this one's actually planned.
This one's planned.
Do you know how I know?
We looked at a map.
Because it's my birthday.
There's that.
And I don't have to clear it with the wife.
There's that.
And I've also cleared it with the wife. So, we're good.
What more could you ask for?
Right. And
all clear.
I'm really excited about some fishing on the Salmon River
Yeah,
now.
I haven't broke out the fishing pole. Last year I went once, but it wasn't for me. I took my kids out to a little lake called Durkee's.
Yeah.
And they all caught fish, and that was the only time I went out to fish. They all caught fish, and I was just there to make sure that they had a good time. And
Yeah, I tell you, I went down to Auger Falls.
no.
And Auger Falls. And there's some ponds down there.
Yeah.
And so there's bluegill all over the place.
Oh, really? I haven't been down there since they put the ponds in.
And we just threw a bobber on a worm out.
Yeah.
And could not force any of those bluegill. They were all breeding. They all had their little sand holes cleaned out.
Oh.
But he did catch a bass.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, a largemouth bass. It was about 5.5 inches long.
Don't they have to be a certain length to keep down there?
I don't know. We put it back anyway. But
Yeah, I caught a little smallmouth bass in the Snake several years ago off of I can't remember. It was a lure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, bass are aggressive. You just get them in the right mood, and they're like,
Yeah.
"What'd you say to me?" And they don't care what the lure
Yeah.
looks like. They just want to come and eat it.
Yep.
But the trout, on the other hand, are a little more finicky.
Yes.
And there's some really great fly fishing along the Salmon River, downstream from Stanley, all over
And
central Idaho like that.
I'm curious to see how bad it will go for me using a fly rod that I set up 7 years ago and still have never used.
David.
It's my entry level rod. It was $20.
Hey.
Entry level,
It doesn't
folks.
matter. It doesn't matter. Look, I watched a video today. I told you I watched some videos today.
Yeah.
And there's some really fundamentals of fly fishing that some people don't understand, and that is and that's one of the things I think about is the fly fishing rods are really long, 9 to 11 feet. If you're in a river, you and why you need that length is to keep all of the line off the water, right? You have to keep your rod tip very, very high.
Yeah.
So that's when a river runs through it. They said between 10 and 2 o'clock or 11 and 1 o'clock, you just move the rod tip very, very slightly. And you can see in the opening of a river runs through it, or maybe it's the closing, I don't know. But the kids on the river fishing in the sunset, and the one boy is just going from 6 o'clock to 3 o'clock, just the whole 180 degrees. And I'm watching. I'm watching a fly fisherman on the Salmon River doing drone shots, and all he can do is 6 to 3 o'clock, or 9 to 3 o'clock.
Okay.
And he wasn't. So don't feel bad. Get out there. He put himself on YouTube.
Yeah.
You get out there.
Yeah.
There's some other casts you can learn.
I think what I'm worried about is somebody else is going to put me on YouTube. And I've said that about some of the hunting situations I've been in.
When you're hanging with me,
it's kind of laughable.
I know. I'm always discreet. I still have some video of you squeezing water out of your socks.
Yeah.
While standing in your underwear.
Okay.
We had a bad hike. We had a bad snowy hike.
Oh, that hike.
Long time ago. I got a video of that still.
I didn't know. I don't. Wait, I do know.
You do know.
I just didn't quite remember it all because
I wasn't going to publish it. You were like, "Hey, man,
that's the kind of hike you just don't want to remember because you poked your eye out."
I did.
Yeah,
I did.
Yeah.
I almost poked my freaking eye out.
Yeah, I thought you'd been shot. You dropped.
I dropped
like
I've been
somebody
shot.
shot you in the face,
Yeah.
and you were holding your face, gushing curse words.
Yeah,
because you weren't really bleeding, but it was.
But only curse words. Thank goodness.
Yeah.
That tree. Oh, that tree almost got me.
Yeah.
Anyway,
and technically that was my fault because we're on the trail. It's cold. It starts snowing, and I'm like, it'll be over in 10 minutes.
Right.
And it just wasn't. And it just kept coming. And we're like, we better just go back to camp. Our feet are soaked. I was wearing Wolverine shoes.
Yeah, I didn't
Or
have
Wolverine boots that were not water
resistant
even.
Yeah.
And I was just slogging along.
Yeah.
I'm surprised I have toes left.
Oh, that was a bad hike. And it was actually, there comes a point where like, we're going to get through this.
Yeah.
We're going to be okay. We're going to go back to camp. There's plenty of food. There's plenty of beer.
Yeah.
Right? It's going to be great. It's going to be great. We're going to dry off. We're going to turn the heater on.
Yeah.
We're going to watch Wicked Tuna
I think,
or whatever.
I think the most telling thing was the next morning because we're like, we'll go back. We'll dry up. We get changed. And we wake up the next morning. We literally have our gear on.
Yeah.
And we open up the tent door.
It's still snowing.
and we stepped out and we're like,
like, let's go back to bed.
yeah, this ain't gonna happen.
We were ready.
Yeah,
we were ready. I did not think the storm was going to last that long.
No, it was it was what, 2:00 when it finally stopped.
Yeah,
2 p.m.
And we went out then, didn't we? Because there was still a day left.
Yeah, something like that. We
yeah.
we decided to eventually go because we ran into somebody coming out and he's like, I'm too slogged down.
Yeah.
And we're like, oh, we waited for the storm to stop, and he was like, yeah, it sounds like a good idea.
Yeah. I think he was back in there.
Yeah.
He was way back in there. So
he was pooped, whoever he was.
Yeah. That water, man, it takes it out of you.
Yeah.
Well, we were lucky. We got back down to the tent and got warm food and got some cold beer. and that's part of fun of elk season too.
Yeah. I was at D&B earlier this week.
Yeah, I love that new store.
And I was checking out their freeze-dried section.
Yeah?
How did that make me laugh? I just had to look at it. I see stuff like that, I got to look at it. Not to buy it. Just to go, oh.
I know.
I have a buddy, you know him. His name's Tracy. He does everything.
Yeah.
He's going to start doing his own backpacking. He's not going to hunt elk.
Okay, sure.
But he's going to do backpacking, and he's starting to freeze dry his own foods.
Okay.
Now that sounds like a plausible endeavor.
Yes. And I've watched YouTube videos of guys doing it. Yeah. They make spaghetti on the trail.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the stuff that's prepackaged,
yeah,
you don't have a say in. And I'm just saying it's so much better when you have a say in it. And I think that's part of what drives us to say what we say about the food that we actually gravitate towards. Now, it's not that we're against all freeze dried. There's a time you might have some ramen noodles or a cup of noodles, but or if you will, potatoes.
Freeze dried food is one thing. Freeze dried meal in a pouch,
different.
is a mistake.
One of the packages that I picked up though. And I go, oh, they're combining two worlds here. Uh-oh. There was a bunch of freeze-dried stuff in there that would be rehydrated, of course. But it was a chicken meal, and it had the chicken in it. And the chicken wasn't freeze-dried. You could feel the pouch.
Yes. So more of that, a hybrid system.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm all for that. We should try that. They had that at D&B?
Yeah.
All right, well, maybe that can be one of our experiments this season.
Yeah. Or this weekend.
Yeah, why not? We'll give it I will try it. But the freeze-dried meals in a pouch just have been nothing but disappointing. Something about the cheese. Cheese bothers me. It's when it coagulates like that, and you look at it and you're like, I know that's supposed to be cheese, but it's doing a bad impression of cheese.
Yeah, no matter how much I heat it, it just keeps its shape.
It's weird, man. So I mean,
government cheese has this beat.
Yeah. We find the government cheese on sale. We're like, get me some.
Yeah.
He'll text me. He'll be like, hey, I found some government cheese. I'm like, get me some.
Every time I go to Winco, I look. They stopped carrying it, and I'm so disappointed.
I saw it there last time I was there.
It's not like I can't go get processed cheese like Velveeta somewhere.
Yeah.
But it's in those fun little pouches that are so packable.
I get Cheese Whiz, and I put it in my squeeze tube.
Okay.
So that, my little squeeze tubes that I like, man, that's the way to do it.
All right.
And that way you can add, and what I like about Cheese Whiz is it's really high in sodium.
Yeah.
Really high in sodium, and that's one of the really important electrolytes you need when you're hiking and working really hard. So just to add a little bit of salt and a little bit of flavor, fat to potatoes, to be able to squirt some Cheese Whiz on top of some instant potatoes. Oh, now we're talking. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so food tip.
Okay.
And I had you try this, and one thing I'm embarrassed about, and this was at one of your birthday camps.
Okay.
Probably 2 years ago or 3 years ago. Madras lentils. It's a vegan lentil, but it's a chili.
Yeah.
And you actually can't really tell that it's vegan, right?
No, you can't.
And I buy it from Costco.
It's the spice on it is like it's enough. Yeah.
It's a packable pouch. You can heat it up in a jet boil, which is what we did.
Yeah.
And you can bring some cheese, and you just bring a little simple bag of Fritos.
Oh yeah.
And you mix that together. Now that's a packable meal. It's fairly light.
Yeah.
And it's very healthy. And I liked it. I would if
I
can remember
it.
So, but here's the thing.
Yeah.
I got home and I looked at those Madras lentils.
Yeah.
We had forgotten about them, and I saw them before we went. And so I take those camping. But I had forgotten that we had them, and I didn't think about the expiration date on them.
Yeah.
They were expired when we ate them.
Shut up.
Shut
up. Where's my phone? I'm looking for my phone. I commented on somebody's Facebook post today.
Yeah.
Do you know how many Facebook posts I comment on? Well, one.
There's one.
I mean, not very many. It's really, really rare. And he was talking about eating food out of the garbage.
Oh.
I'm like, oh, I'm coming. It's only like 3 or 4 times a week. I don't know what the big deal is.
Yeah.
Anyway,
so they were out of date, and so they weren't as flavorful as they could be, because we got home and I was starting to eat one of the other ones. I was like, this tastes weird.
Yeah.
And I remember them kind of tasting weird to me up in the mountains, but I'm like, it's elevation. That changes.
9,000 feet in the Rockies changes the flavor of everything.
So I realized they were like a year and a half out of date. So I apologize. Nobody got sick.
It wasn't a week, right? It wasn't a month. It was a year.
It was a time. It was the length of time. And so I keep meaning to tell you that.
I know, dude.
And but anyway, get fresh ones. Don't forget about them in your pantry. We had moved, or I don't know. Anyway, I don't have an excuse. I'm just saying.
No. I
forgot.
I'll out myself right now. I have a food tote, a camping food tote.
Yeah.
And it's full of food, and I'm just always buying food for it. And I'm like, yeah, they're still good. They're still good. It's a sealed package. And a year goes by, and another year goes by. So I'm telling you, those Nature Valley granola bars.
Oh yeah.
They don't stand, man. And so I need to go through it, and I need to toss the entire thing, because the entire tote is in my attic.
Oh gosh.
You know how hot it gets in my attic right now?
That's all you had to say. His house was built in the 1930s.
1924.
1920s.
Yeah.
I sit corrected. So think about a house that old and an attic with food in it.
Toasty. It's non-perishable, man. Well, until it perishes.
Less perishable food items. That's what they should call it. Less perishable.
I'm absolutely I'm absolutely determined to, you know what? I'm just going to relegate that to the dumpster, and I'm just going to all new food this year. New granola bars, new squeeze tubes, new potato. Well, potatoes will last. I'll keep those in a special place.
I also found a new headlamp, and I've buy these headlamps for like $15-$12 a piece.
Yeah.
And I saw these ones at Costco in a 3-pack, and they have this ridiculous lumens.
Yeah. How many lumens?
I forgot.
How many lumens you got there? It's like 720?
I don't have them.
I had 750.
I think they're like 1,500.
Oh, yeah. That's what they're at now. I mean, I have one that's 2,000.
Yeah. Anyway.
I don't.
I have a new headlamp to break out. So you can laugh at it if you want.
No, I'm laughing at the idea of guys arguing about lumens.
Yes.
That's a good headlight. But
that's pretty bright. How many lumens you got?
How many lumens you got? Yeah, I don't care, buddy. I can see in the dark. It's magic.
Yeah, well.
I don't need to know how many lumens it is.
Well, excuse me.
But no, it
was magic to me.
It's
Thank
fun.
you for squishing my dreams. I'll let you have that one since it is your birthday week.
I know. There's guys out there that know how many feet per second their bow shoot. Are you one of those guys? I am not.
I have no idea.
I am clueless. And I'm okay with that.
I do know that I was looking at Lit Knox at DMB as well.
Oh yeah?
They're more expensive at DMB than on other places.
What
like Amazon.
What are they running?
They're $35 for 3.
Okay, so $10 a piece, $12 a piece.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, you know. So what does that bring? What does that bring the total to when you lose an arrow?
So
you got the arrow, the broadhead.
The arrow the 2 arrows I've lost, if we just think about one of them, was about a $25 loss.
Okay.
And I've lost $50 up there in that one place.
Yeah, you have.
And we searched and searched and searcch.
Desperately want that $50 back.
Putting another $10 on that makes it like
70.
Yeah,
it would make it 70, right?
Well, it'll be $35. Well, it would have made the 2 of those, yeah, $70. But it just adds up.
It does. That's what I'm saying. Every time we're just nickeling.
And so
down.
I keep meaning to go down and get the arrows redone.
Yeah, fletched or
refletched. Yeah, and I just keep forgetting. But all right, conservation news. Where are we at? Everything's still rolling.
19 minutes. Yeah.
Oh, we're
only 19 minutes in. We're good.
I said I was way ahead of time, or I was doing good on time today in class, and before I knew it
was over.
I was over. I was like, okay, where are we at with time? Oh, we're out of time.
Dang it! I was gonna bring. I got my gold pan with my dirt.
Oh.
I need to bring it over so we can like divvy it up and like make some videos and have some fun. Show the kids.
I saw it. They had all this stuff in the sportsman section at DMB, and in the middle of all the sportsman stuff, and for no reason at all. And I wanted to buy one. It was only $10 or $6. This itty bitty gold pan.
Yeah.
Just itty bitty gold pan.
Like a pie tin?
No, it was small. I don't even know how to explain it. And it was just cute. And it's kind of like, hey, for all the gold that I find, this is still way too big.
Yeah, way too big.
But it'd be good for small kids.
It would be. Yeah, just to practice. All right. Anyway, so that'll be happening sooner or later.
Yeah, I know. I was going to jump in because you got me all excited for gold prospecting last time. And I got to wait. I got to wait till next year probably because I just don't have.
We'll see.
I've got too many things on the docket
I know.
this year.
I know. I do too.
Hey, weather has been kind of incredible for the Northwest this year. Incredible, not always in a good way. I mean, the world knows you have to have certain access points to Yellowstone now. One of the last roads I was on in Yellowstone was from North Yellowstone into Gardner. Yeah. And Gardner's, sort of isolated now. Bridges are out, road is out.
Yeah.
It's kind of heartbreaking. But the Montana Coast site that you've posted here is talking about the snowpack. And this is as of the beginning of June.
Yeah.
Incredible snow melt will fill dams, rivers, and reservoirs from late spring snowstorms. So that's really cool that we're, at least here in the Northwest, we're getting some reserves back. We talked about Idaho's reserves getting stronger over at like Lucky Peak Reservoir's full, and there's like 3 major dams over there.
Yeah, Arrowhead and Magic.
Arrowhead and not Magic. We're talking about Boise area.
Oh, okay.
So there's
Lake Lowell,
Lucky Peak, and then there's one in the south that's not quite full.
Oh, okay.
And so they're still struggling on that one, but for the most part, we got our water reserves here in Idaho fairly.
And it's good. And we've been following and we've been thinking about and talking about and following this story from the beginning of the elk season podcast.
Yeah.
From the very first one. So, it's really, really important how the elk do depending on how the climate is that year, how the weather is that year. And we got some snow just before the very first elk season podcast. And then it got really empty. But it stayed cold and snow accumulated and stayed accumulated.
And we kept getting cold storms every weekend that you want to go out, you're going to get rained on.
Yeah.
And so
I was going to go do this hike last Sunday. Do you remember?
Yeah, and I said it was going to rain. Then what did it do? At least not here.
Yeah. No. So my wife talked to somebody at the gym. And he goes, "Hey, where were you this weekend?" I was up in Stanley. He goes, "Oh, the worst storm I've ever seen in Stanley." Which has got to be bad.
Wow.
So, yeah, I'm glad I stayed.
Okay.
We're going this weekend. It's going to be 70, 80. We'll be okay.
Yeah. No, that's patience, brother. Yeah. Patience.
I know. I've been itching to get out so bad, though. But the colder temperatures have kept the snowpack higher longer. And so now all of a sudden, instead of May floods or late May floods, it's mid-June floods.
Yeah. Just out for no reason at all.
Yeah.
I thought it would be kind of fun to follow the Columbia River.
Yeah. Like on Google Earth?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, I don't know that I ever got to the end of it.
Yeah?
It's a long freaking river. It goes all the way up into Canada and winds around.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
That's a huge river.
Yeah.
And part of what was not conjured, but not
drove.
Inspired me to do this.
Yeah.
My word was better.
So much better.
What inspired me to do this was, how do they determine which river comes from where? So I thought, well, maybe I can look like when the Snake River dumps into the Columbia.
Yeah.
How do you know it's not just the Snake River versus the Columbia?
Right.
And so I think there are some defining features that kind of help you realize that.
Yeah.
But for the most part, there are some places where I'm like,
it's wrong.
It might
be wrong.
How did they determine that's the Snake River versus the Columbia or the Salmon River or the Columbia or whatever, right?
Well, the Yellowstone and the Missouri.
Yeah.
They are really, really close to being the same. And I think Lewis thought the Yellowstone was bigger Lewis thought the Missouri was bigger and Clark thought the Yellowstone was bigger.
Yeah.
And so Lewis was in charge. He goes, well, I'm putting the Missouri down as the primary tributary. And so the Yellowstone now enters the Missouri instead of the Missouri coming to the Yellowstone.
But how did they determine which tributary? How do we know it wasn't the Yellowstone that should have been the Missouri?
Well, because of its flow, I guess.
Well, that's what I mean. So that's a whole bunch of stuff I have no knowledge on. But I got curious, and I was following. Okay. I was following this river to kind of take a look at how do we know, and it's an interesting river, and It's crazy how much water there is in Canada.
Google. Oh man, when you get up in the real mountains,
yeah.
I mean the Banff area between Banff and the coastal mountains.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Anyway,
so much water.
So a little bit of a side note, but speaking of water and rivers, Bighorn River, where's that?
Wyoming, I believe.
Wyoming. Okay, because it's flowing more than doubled. Bighorn River in south central Montana. Oh, it says right here. South central Montana. If you read, you'll have the more than doubled by the weekend. And so this was posted, it says here, 5 hours ago.
Yeah.
Just kidding. This is old.
This is old stuff. And so most of the flooding's calmed down.
Yeah. And then somebody had posted a picture from a bridge in Billings. Its flood stage is 13.5 feet, and this was at a 16.5 feet crest.
Yeah. So, big water.
So
they have the 1 in 100-year floods.
Yeah.
This was allegedly a 1 in 500-year flood.
Yeah.
So
those are happening a lot lately. Yeah. It's been a heck of a 500-year run.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember just 400 years ago when that happened. So
yeah. Hey, Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation posted this. Fish and Game issued a request for Wildlife Service to remove wolves in the area that they could be located, and they were not. The sheep has. Oh, sorry. This is about a pileup caused by wolves, and 143 sheep. Sorry.
Yeah.
So they were looking to relocate some wolves. Apparently, they were not, or something like that.
You know what? I
don't understand the story. Actually.
I saved this story. For one reason, and that is, it's talking about a surplus kill.
Yes.
Wolves will do a surplus kill if there's not enough other food available, or if. And really, it takes some very special conditions for wolves to do a surplus kill. But if they see some, undefended and undefendable livestock, they will just go through and kill them all.
Yeah,
or kill as many as they can, as a means of surplus, knowing that they think or they believe that they can come back to it later.
Is it erroneous for people to say or believe that a wolf does something like that just for fun, and that's why we should get rid of them?
Of course, that's erroneous.
Yes, it is.
Yeah,
it's an argument I've heard. They just like to kill animals for fun.
It is. I heard that from high school teachers, man. There's only 2 animals in the world that hunt for fun. It's humans and wolves.
Oh,
but I grew up in Montana, so they were a little biased. So while we're talking about wolves, because the surplus kill is something I just feel like I needed to address. Sometimes those do happen. Now, just because somebody posts a bunch of pictures of a bunch of dead, bloody sheep and says wolves did it, that's not good enough. That's really not good enough evidence. It's just a post. And so a lot of this comes off as the people who post this, it comes off as wolves are evil.
Yeah.
And we're just not getting the whole story in there. So two, when Carter Niemeyer was part of the lead of this reintroduction of wolves into Montana and Yellowstone and Idaho, mostly through Montana, he had a little bit of a tiff with some famous guy who's all over Idaho's Google Earth, Ralph Maughan.
Yeah. Okay.
If you look at pictures anywhere in the backcountry, you're going to run across Ralph Maughan. Anyways, so they had a little bit of a tiff because the wolves are back and we want to protect them. Now they're back, we have to protect them. And Carter Niemeyer was more on the page of their wolves are back, they're going to be fine, but we need to train them. And if they're getting into livestock, we need to end that practice. We had
a conversation about that.
Yeah. And so the same sort of thing would apply there. Okay. It's just to be able to teach them and cull them.
Okay. Yeah.
So anyway,
we're gonna jump into some elk content now.
Okay.
Actual elk content on the elk podcast.
I know. Elk season
podcast.
Anyway.
This one is one I bring to the table, and it's so remember that trailer that you got when we would haul the 4-wheeler around? Didn't we used it for the sheds we'd clean out, and it's way too small?
Oh, dude.
So put an elk on that trailer, a full bull elk on that trailer. That's effectively what this image shows.
Okay.
And it's in the folder. You can access it from there. Or do you want me to text it to you?
Yeah, text it to me just in case.
Social media photo leads to charges of men who poached a trophy elk. So I don't know if you can see that.
Really? How did they get him?
Hey, look at this elk I just killed. Everybody loves how I killed this elk. Post. It was on social media.
Oh, but he didn't. But okay.
It
I guess I would know what does poaching mean? It's out of season. It was at night. It was. I mean, there's.
Well, poaching is poaching. They illegally harvested an elk. So I don't know that the conditions aren't necessarily specified other than they bragged about this kill.
Right.
They didn't brag that they poached. They just bragged about the kill.
Right.
It happens to come from Oregon, which has fairly strict laws.
Yeah, they do. Yeah,
and so, yeah. So look, criminals is so dumb. I just
You know the number one way poachers get caught?
word of mouth.
Call a friend. Phone a friend, man.
Yeah.
They get tattled on.
Yeah.
That is the number one way. And if I know it's tough to be with somebody who doesn't appreciate the integrity that you have as an outdoorsman. And when they don't, it's really hard to say anything in front of them. It's really hard, but I'm on the phone. I'm on the phone when I get home.
Absolutely.
I'll tattle. If I see something in the woods, I'll tattle. So keep up the tattletaling. It's okay.
Yeah. It's not a tattle. I think we got to abandon the tattle label because you're being a good person.
Snitch. How does snitch come off? Does that come off anybody?
No. Hey, don't forget to apply for the Pennsylvania Elk Tag drawing. Now
we could. You want to put
July 31st. No.
You want to put in? Let's put in for elk in Pennsylvania.
No. That is not the reason I'm going to Pennsylvania.
Okay. You're going to Pennsylvania?
No, that's not the reason that's going to get me to go to Pennsylvania.
Oh, okay. Okay, so that's not the reason this year. Maybe next year we could put in for. I'm just saying.
Every state in this good country, I have a bucket list.
Yeah.
There's something at the top of the bucket list in Pennsylvania. I'm sorry, elk are not on the list at the moment.
What's at the top of your bucket list in Pennsylvania? You have
Philly cheesesteaks, bro.
You have a Pennsylvania bucket list?
Philly cheesesteaks.
What's in Arkansas?
Philly.
What's in Arkansas?
I don't know. I haven't put that list together.
Crater at Diamond State Park.
Yeah,
you can dig
actually
for diamonds.
is on my list.
It better be.
Yeah, it is. It's actually, you're right. I forgot. Lobster in Maine.
Sure. I just want some lobster rolls, really.
So I could keep going, but that's not the point. But elk probably aren't going to get me to Pennsylvania. At least not right now.
It would just be fun to go from the Intermountain Northwest to Pennsylvania to go elk hunting.
Wouldn't that be the contrary? Like you always have the rich guys in the city coming out west, and now you have the poor guys going to the city.
Dude, we'll borrow a car from one of my poor friends.
Right?
We'll drive it all the way there.
Maybe we could borrow that trailer from those guys who are incarcerated in Oregon now. A series of videos posted by the Bureau of Land Management in Wyoming. Facebook shows the benefit of wildlife water guzzlers.
Yeah.
So it looks like a tire.
It is, yeah. It is, but it holds water. And it's just their watering stations for wildlife.
Okay.
Which I'm kind of against.
Yeah, let nature do its thing.
Yeah.
It's kind of like I didn't clip it and I should have.
Yeah.
Hunters somewhere in the Midwest had a couple of bucks that were interlocked.
Yeah.
One of them had died.
Yeah.
The other one was surely going to die.
Yeah.
So they couldn't get the antlers, unlocked.
Right.
So they shot off one of the antlers of the.
I saw that. It was one shot too, wasn't it? It was like a shot. It was like a game warden that shot that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it doesn't make sense. A, the overpopulation of whitetails.
Yeah.
And B, nature.
Yeah.
I used to be offended at that because there was this really cool story where there were these two bull elk on private property. It was here in Idaho, I believe, and they were interlocked. And they went to the private landowner and they're like, hey, these two bulls, we could save them. And he's like, it's nature. Leave them alone.
Yeah.
And he had every right to do it. And then and the Forest Service was like, yeah, it is what it is.
It is what it is.
And I thought,
but when they died and starved to death, that guy got a couple of nice racks on his property.
Possibly.
Yeah.
But at the same time,
that's a good response.
That's nature.
Yeah.
It's nature. And as much as I don't like it, I like it more than I don't like it.
Yeah.
Because it's nature. And
so, yeah, and I see these watering holes and I'm like, that's great that critters have a place to drink from, but that's not nature. And so we're sort of what's the hand of the conservationist? What's the role?
Well, in this particular story, the next one, the role of conservation has to do with, there's an elk calf that we can nourish and get back.
Okay, so let's talk about nature. Let's talk about nature a little bit more, because I read a book about anthropomorphism called "When Elephants Weep."
Yes.
Right. And so any anthropomorphism, just any human characteristics on anything not human.
Right.
And when it comes to animals, we see these animals, it's good for us to want to help.
Yeah.
It's good for us to help. It's good for us. It's
Yeah.
not good for the animals. Right? It's not good for the animals. It's good for us. I need my good deed. I'm a Boy Scout.
So this elk calf spared in the fire is found, and so they're going to kind of rehabilitate it and release it back to the wild. So what's the problem with that?
Well, it should have died in the fire.
Was the fire natural?
They should have cooked it.
If the fire was man-made, if the fire was
yeah.
So I mean, there's questions I have.
I think so. What my point is, I believe that there's an overriding emotion to make me feel good than it is to help a deer. Right? Their life's going to be miserable as it is. I might be the one to shoot them later. I don't know. Right? It's going to be miserable. I like to feel good about myself. It is unnatural. It's unnatural to get them untangled.
Yeah.
Not unnatural to get them untangled from a fence.
Right.
But untangled from each other. So I'm conflicted. I really am conflicted on that because those type of activities make hunters feel good, make people who are doing it feel good about themselves. Yeah. And should it?
Well, I guess it depends on context.
We like to help. We like to help. Yeah.
I don't know. If I kill this whitetail buck though, that has half an antler because somebody shot it off, I'm gonna cry foul. Anyway,
right. And if I shoot this deer that's obviously been grain fed because it's been hand fed by a group of BLM firemen, Yeah, because that's the only way I'm getting close to an elk.
Yeah, that's a good point.
If the Forest Service trains it well enough.
Point. Closest I've ever been to an elk is a prepackaged jerky. Grizzlies expanding their range.
Yeah.
We've had conversations about the one they found or saw or spotted up somewhere. And,
it's an ongoing story. Yeah.
But it's just time to acknowledge the problem bear reality. We've talked about problem bears. Problem bears are problem bears because, well, they interact with humans. Humans aren't doing enough to train them, if you will, to stay away.
Yeah.
And so that's a problem. And which means conservation can try to help out, but you have restrictions, you have hunting seasons, you also have grizzly bears, which we've talked about a lot, being expanding.
Yeah.
Still on endangered species lists, and it's like, well, there's this fine balance between how many grizzlies do we have to have kill people before we allow active conservation moves to harvest, to cull a bit of the population.
What is the grizzly carrying capacity of the Intermountain Northwest? And if it was at that capacity, what kind of infringement would we see on the human population and their habitat? So, I know it's a real tough one. It's a continuing story. And we here at the Elk Season Podcast, I love bears and I love wolves. I love the predator story and anything that comes up predator related, especially to elk. And finding out how many elk calves are killed by grizzlies.
Yeah.
I mean, that when you wake up, you haven't eaten, that you got one thing on your mind, and it is elk calves.
I forgot I stumbled across a YouTube video of a guy who captured one of the bears in Yellowstone's, and he was naming it by number. It's like he has enough knowledge. He's like, so this is bear 5455 or whatever. And you might remember him because he was this one bear in this one video who got this elk, and here he is fending off some other grizzly from his own kill right here. It was kind of a cool video.
Wow.
I don't know. I should have.
You should. You should totally send me that.
I got to find it, see if I can find it. I don't know who the guy was, but it wasn't really that interesting of a video, so I didn't stay there very long. I just remember enough to know, he had some connection to this, whatever. But brown bears.
Yeah.
Wolf dens.
Yeah.
Must be a hungry bear to get those pups inside.
Yeah.
But wait.
Yeah.
They're puppies.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I know.
It's anthropomorphizing.
It's nature. It
is nature, but that's how brutal nature is. Nature does not care. That's one of my favorite lines. I know it's gruesome. It's a bit morbid.
He didn't get the pups.
No, he didn't. It said try. It said try in the headline. But that's what one of the lines I like the most in the Batman: The Dark Knight.
Yeah.
It's a bit gruesome, a bit morbid, but Joker says, let's see how loyal your a hungry dog is, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And well, that's nature. He's not wrong with that statement.
Yeah.
Your animal will have a connection to you until it's hungry.
Yeah. It was always sad to me to, you know, whenever I watch nature documentaries growing up, they always show the life cycle, right? Here they are mating. Okay. Got it. Thank you. Here they are, you know, in gestation or, you know, hatching or whatever. And here they are as infants and through adolescence. And they show this process of infants through adolescence and then the cycle begins. But how much death to how many young animals? It's really awful.
I forgot about an elk story, and so we got to take a side because I've been trying to follow a theme here, and I jumped out of the elk into the bears, and we forgot to talk about this elk who visited a home in Colorado. It's just he's right there. He actually looks like he's rung the doorbell, and he's waiting for you to come to the door to invite him in. That's the image. I'm anthropomorphizing, but that's what it looks like.
I took a snapshot from a TikTok video. So the Ring camera has a motion sensor, so you don't have to ring the doorbell to get it to record. Right? It just, there's something going on. I better record this. And it's this big 6-point bull. Yeah. Now, it sounds exciting and fun, but it points to a very serious problem in Colorado, and that is residential zoning.
Yeah.
They don't have here's a subdivision, you can build here. They say, well, you know, here's land, build something.
Yeah.
And they build roads and and everything goes everywhere and I please don't quote me on this. I'm not a real estate lawyer.
What are you going to say?
Yeah. So that's what I've come to understand is that their residential laws allow them to build a little bit deeper, a little bit closer to habitat, and they think things like this are exciting and fun. But I think they need kids with slingshots.
Yeah.
To just, hey, keep your distance from humans. It'd be the smartest thing for them.
Yeah.
But,
well, there's that. Yeah. Keep your distance from nature, but sometimes you can't.
You can drive through neighborhoods and catch them in Sun Valley in the wintertime.
Oh, yeah.
I got pictures on my phone.
Oh,
big bull elk in there.
Oh, yeah.
Big.
I've been up there many times in the winter. Speaking about getting close to nature, grizzly bear comes out of the brush and approached 2 hunters up to close range as they attempted to retrieve and harvest a black bear in
North Idaho
Creek drainage.
This is North Idaho.
Yeah.
2 black bear hunters in June killed a grizzly bear. First, though, they killed a black bear, and the smell of that. Now, here's what I really wanted to talk about. In Idaho, you can hunt bear with dogs or bait.
Yeah.
There's that many bears in Idaho. There's so many bears.
I've seen them.
And if you bait, especially in North Idaho, now you're going to start bringing in grizzlies.
Yeah.
Now you've baited, you have bears with expectations of food, and you've killed another bear, and a grizzly comes up, man. That's a tough one. They might have to look differently at.
But this is the second kind of story like this we've talked about, because wasn't it a bear that came in and got the guy's elk in one of our stories?
Yes. However, that was not at a bait station, right?
No.
They're not baiting for elk.
No, but the point is that the population is large enough that you have an increase of these kinds of stories.
Yeah. Well, and having a bait station is going to bring all bears in, not just black bears, but black bears and grizzlies.
You ever seen how they bait? It's some nasty stuff they do to get.
Would you ever be interested in baiting, making a bait station with me?
No.
Really?
All right. I appreciate the conversion to predator management and conservation, but I don't know. Bear meat is tricky to eat because it could kill you. So.
It could.
There's a certain bacteria in it that you have to cook it a certain way. And again, don't quote me on that. I've just read some things like you have to cook it a certain way.
Yeah.
And it just doesn't appeal to me because I don't want to have to worry about that kind of thing. I could be way off, way wrong. The internet told me that.
Well, I'm conflicted about hunting with bait because it's bait.
Yeah. Seems cheaty.
It does.
In the early 2000s.
But so many people do it. And it's not easy. It's not easy. I mean, you have to carry hundreds of pounds deep into backcountry, and you have to do it over and over and over again just to make sure that the bears have a habit. Then the bears, what one guy told me he goes, we would go into the tree stand, and we have cameras set up on the bait station. We go into the tree stand, nothing comes, so we leave. Soon as we leave, I know what time I left. I checked it. The trail cameras pick up as soon as I leave, and they know that as soon as I leave, the bears were there eating. So we brought 2 guys to the tree stand, and then one of them would leave, and the bears would start coming in. So it still takes some tactics and a lot of work. I don't want to discount it as cheating, because just sitting in a tree stand couldn't get boring. But you just have to get up there and wait until like right before night when the bears might start coming in. But they know you're there. Yeah, it was interesting story. So
I worked for a warehouse for many years in the early 2000s, and there was a guy that would come in for materials every now and then, and he would have a dog kennel sometimes in the back of his truck because he was a bear hunter. Yeah, and he would talk about got to go out and get the bears, and so he used dogs. Back in the early 2000s to do it. Yeah, so I think we're on our last story already.
Dogs. I don't know if I want to call dogs a cheat. No, you ever try to chase a dog through the woods?
No,
I know a guy who has them. He says, man, once they get that scent, they're on it. You got to follow them. You got to be in shape. You got to hustle and move. And man, so that's still work.
So we've talked about a show a couple times called "I Shouldn't Be Alive."
Yeah.
We've talked about where my 11-year-old son's name came from. From that show. Yeah. We've talked about "Don't Feed the Bears." Yeah. Because there are old ladies that show up on that show. Okay. But I have an old lady that's not going to show up on that show. Uh-oh. And when I read the story, at least it didn't say that she was doing anything to have this encounter with a bear. Right. But at least not feeding it.
Context says otherwise?
Well, no. Okay. This is a legit story. She had an encounter with a bear and did something to deter the bear. And this is what's really interesting. And I think there's a few factors that are just remarkable about this. I think the first one is, and I didn't see any indications that this was happening. That's why I think that's kind of remarkable. In the show "I Shouldn't Be Alive," or "Fatal Attractions," rather, is the show I mean to say. So "Fatal Attractions" is where people have this addiction to being interactive with animals that should be like snakes that could kill you. A guy who had a lion who, when he didn't want neighbors, he'd stake it to the front lawn up at his driveway. So if you'd walk around, you'd see this lion staked into the ground. Not kidding, dude.
No.
It was
Oh my gosh, that's Neighbor Wars next level, man. I gotta remember that one.
Fatal Attractions, it makes my blood curdle so much. Like, don't have exotic pets. This lion killed him eventually. Yeah. Because he just lived with it. He anthropomorphized with it. Yeah. Whatever you want to mean with that, you can mean it. But anyway, so this story caught my attention because first thing it said is 90-year-old. This is an old person.
Okay. 90's up there.
This is in Tennessee.
Okay.
This 90-year-old woman in Tennessee fights off a black bear.
Okay.
With her lawn chair.
Nice.
What lawn chair?
What
brand of lawn chair is that?
It's got to be a Yeti. You know it's a Yeti. Her grandson bought it for her. Don't worry. He makes plenty of money. Don't worry about it.
Sitting on her front porch when the sow, who had 3 cubs. So this is probably why the bear was like, you're a threat. She sustained only a minor injury, but she fought off a black bear with a chair. She's 90 years old.
If our grandma fought off a black bear with a chair, what would that chair look like?
Well, it's an aluminum frame, and it's got her own crocheted seating on it. And
that's what I'm picturing.
Exactly.
That's what I'm picturing. And if you scratch this, it's going to be a double beating.
It's on, because I don't want to have to make another one. I already make this crap for my grandkids.
Yeah, they had those old aluminum frame chairs, and they had really thin nylon straps that went across them and sort of wove through, but they would always tear and break. And my grandparents just made a hobby of fixing them up with my grandma's knitting.
Yeah.
And they were nice.
They served the purpose, man.
Yeah.
So many things that she would just make that we still have relics of,
many
blankets.
Many.
Yeah. The last thing is really just bad financial decisions meme. I'm going to describe it.
I'll put it up on our YouTube video.
Knights of the Round Table.
It wasn't. Yeah.
there's car guys, drone guys, watch guys, knife guys, PC guys, gamer guys, golf guys, boat guys, shoe guys. They've got their swords in the table. They're a part of this Knights of the Round Table. And in the middle of the table is labeled bad financial decisions.
Yeah.
But there's a missing sword at the table. And this is probably the Lancelot sword. He's not there yet. And the Lancelot sword is
obviously the elk hunter.
the elk hunter.
Obviously.
So
Yeah. I mean, he was missing some. There's a pretty big gap in my thoughts. I'm like, why is this in my feed? And there's not even elk hunting on that table.
Yeah.
I don't even know what they're thinking.
because the most important one is still
Right.
out trying to be important.
That's
So-
true. That's true. Thank you for that perspective. That helps.
You're welcome.
That makes that meme so much better. But we can still change it.
Yes.
Because it should be mule deer guys, it should be bear guys, it should be steelhead guys, it should be, all the elk guys, everybody, because all those hobbies make bad financial decisions for us.
And you got to edit this. You got to add that. But in the back, the guy that's looking at everybody here, have a little thing that looks like he's saying something like, "I have a rifle."
Okay. Like I'm actually going to do something.
I'm a rifleman.
A lazy road hunting rifleman. That is where
I own a truck.
Guess what? I still have beer left.
Yeah, mine was gone before the podcast.
I know. As we opened them almost the same time. You were like 45 seconds before me.
Behind you. I opened it after you. I tried to give you a head start.
That's not how I
You
remember
disappoint me, brother.
That's not how I remember it. Your memory disappoints me.
Can you read my shirt?
I can, but I don't want to. All right. So that's it for the Elk Season podcast. Thanks, everybody.
Yep,
How many
thank
days
you.
till Elk Season? Can you look that up real quick? I'd just like to know, and I should know every time I come in.
Go gadget.
But let's go 70? No. Is it 70 already? No, that's like 2 months.
69, dude.
69 days till elk season, man. That's why you wanted it on Wednesday, not Thursday. I knew it.
Yeah, there was a reason.
knew it.
I gave you that flowery story earlier. It was just cover for that.
69 days till elk season. Today, Wednesday, is leg day for me.
Yeah, and I'm back on the elliptical to get my cardio in. So riding bikes and doing my elliptical, I've put in some good. It just feels so good.
Yeah,
Get
we got a good
pumping.
practice hike coming up this weekend. Have a great week, everybody.
Be well.
See you next time.
Stay awesome.
Goodbye.